Hello, friends. After a quite long time, we are in a discussion of literary aspects and literature and language. As my earlier motto was to deliver lectures on literary aspects and literature per se. Now, as time is moving and new dimensions of linguistics field also emerging, and literature has a strong relationship with the language because on the very platform of language that literature is built, literature is totally mixed up with language. And now, because the social scenario is going to a postmodern globalized world, so language has a new meaning. Language has many dimensions to convey itself into the field of literary activism. Now, as speaking in the very framework of linguistic techniques is not my motto to deliver a very lengthy lecture on language per se, but I will draw here some of the basic points regarding English language teaching and the aspect and impact of language in the modern communicative world. We all know India was the colony of the British regime, and near about 200 ages British people they ruled over India. And after that, after 1947 or the 1950s, India became the independent state. And nowadays, the communicative aspect is very important in the field of job, work, and our relationship with the foreign nations also. Now, education has spread nowadays in a very massive framework, and it is our duty to build our children in the framework of new linguistic arena. Language has garnered itself, and language has taken the shape of a massive framework by which our all everyday work goes on. Now, regarding linguistic and philological terms, we have found that Pidgin English, Creole, dialectical language, registered language, loanwords, both Latin, Scandinavian, and also French loanwords. We all know that. And now, in this particular short video, I will give light to the English language teaching and its various forms. At first, I will discuss the grammar translation method. The grammar translation method is very age-old convention. It was used when we were in the very shackle of the bondage of the British regime, and I will discuss my this present video in the perspective of the Indian students particularly, because India is a vast country and Indian education got its impulse from the British educationists and their activities, and nowadays India has become an independent place to deliver its education among the citizens of the every state and every cities, so and villages also. So now, in grammar translation method, the age-old convention of writing and speaking and writing, these were given the basic primacy. And we also find that in grammar translation method, the age-old convention of teaching grammar through the deductive mode was going on. And this was the technique which gained its impetus from the British people, their technique of building the very much their working men. They wanted working men, and they want to build some of the Indian people who would be able to write and speak English for the official purposes. So grammar translation method and its very much motto was very much ancient, and the British people wanted to build in our Indian territories a number of people who will be very much not very much intelligent, but they will be efficient in writing and speaking English fluently. And in this method, the methodology of teaching grammar was very important. And grammar, as I have already said, the grammar was taught deductively in grammar translation method. Now, when India got freedom, and in the 1960s and 70s, new linguists came, and they gave impression, and they gave the new ways through which language should be taught in Indian territories and throughout the world. Because we all know that nowadays, after the post-colonial world, and that in the time when the post-colonial period was going on, new techniques came, and the world was going to a very globalized world, and in which the communication purpose was very much important for us. Now, in this method, the direct method came, in which grammar was taught not deductively but inductively. And in the direct method, the second language learning was not given its primacy, because the second language was not given its importance, and the importance was totally on the target language in the direct method. I will not elaborate my discussion by quoting and explaining the linguist thinkers, their quotations and their thinking. I will just give the basic points. And now we find the audiolingual method. In audiolingual method, the role of the teacher and the student was very much important, and the relationship between the teacher and the student is very important in audiolingual method, in which also the speech and the hearing was given very much primacy. Then the some kind of drill and practices, it is very much important in the very process of language learning. And then we find the silent way, in which Krasen, who was also very famous for the natural method also, Krasen, and we also find Quran, and they are the very much very important linguist of the modern scenario. And we find the community language learning. Community language learning is also very important in the discussion of the English language teaching. In these frameworks, the in silent way and the community language learning, the students' roles are given very much importance, because and grammar was taught not deductively but inductively, because the student, their aim, their teaching must be a very prominent one, and they should be able to communicate with each others and also to the whole world. For the communication purpose, community language learning is very much important. Community language learning, it is a process which find 10 or 15 people, they share, the students, they share their feelings, they share their drilling, and they find the teacher that he or she can solve their problems, and not to repudiate them but to teach them in a very friendly manner. So community language learning and total physical response, these are very important in ELT or the English language teaching. Total physical response, it is like the behavioristic theory. We can find some similarities with the behavioristic theory of very prominent theorist we all know. And communicative language learning, we all discussed it. And based on these theories, at last we find the content based language. The content based language, it is very important, where the second language learning is not given its primacy. The first language or the target language is given the primacy, and it is taught in the manner of very student friendly manner. So the content based language and task based language also we find, these are very important fields in which language is taught. So according to the basic modern scenario, language should be taught not deductively but inductively. So we find that earlier view of grammar translation method, when the grammar was taught deductively, it is totally eschewed by the modern linguists and the modern education thinkers. They all accepted the direct method. Later we find the audiolingual silent way, the communicative language teaching, and the total physical response, and by which the English language and its communication to the throughout the world, it's made popular, and it is visible now that English language teaching is very much it has gained the status of a globalized world order. Now, regarding some basic terminology, I will discuss very shortly some philological terms like the Pidgin English, Creole, dialectical language, and registered language. We all know that we have languages which has very common features in every regional and every national framework. We have also our registered language, like the official language, also they are registered language. We have Pidgin language. Pidgin means the second language, second language, which is also the language based for communication. We have Creole, the mixed up languages, and the loan words. Loan words, we all know that the British people, when the time was very ancient, they get that modern English scenario or the modern English language, it gained some words from the Scandinavian people and also from the French people, and later was and the very ancient language Latin, it also has impact on the English language. So in these ways, English language garnered and English language got the status of a supreme communicative and world language. So up to this, in the discussion of English language teaching and our discussion on the linguistic framework of the modern scenario, I will conclude my video. And if you like my video, you please subscribe my channel and give like, and so that I can make many new videos. I'll be encouraged, and thank you for your participation of viewing my this video, and I hope you will all be well and take care in this corona atmosphere, and be well, and take care of your children also. Thank you all people. Goodbye.